Hello there and welcome to Acadian Comics. I'm your host, James Fondren, and I just want to give you a big warm welcome here at Acadian Comics. I'm kicking off this new venture. I just kind of transformed from one platform of writing like a novelization of a story to going into doing comics. And it's interesting. I mentioned on my other channel, Shadowworks Media. You can check out some of my old content there, but I'll be posting new videos here at Acadian Comics. But I've been using the iPad Pro, the Apple Pencil 2, to draw, and I'm a student at the How to Draw Comics Academy. Some people, they go to the Kubrick School. There's been many very successful comic book artists who have gone through the program in school at the Kubrick School. Joe Kubert in New Jersey, and his I believe his son. Joe has passed away a few years now, but it's still an institution, and I'm not that far, and I've contemplated taking classes there, but I am a student at the How to Draw Comics Academy. So that website is howtodrawcomics.net if you want to check that out. And the lead instructor there is Clayton Barton. It's his creation. You could call it the Barton School, right? I mean, he could call it the Barton School, and it would be just as equally famous, I'm sure, at someday. Who knows who my classmates, what art they're going to go on to do, So it'll be interesting to see what people produce. A lot of great artists in there, a lot better than me. But here's my story, okay? So I spent the past 2 years just writing a novel, a science fiction novel, and I had some downtime where I had some health issues last fall in 2023, and I kind of reshifted my focus and thought, well, wait a minute, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? Now, there are creators on YouTube who they crowdfund their work and they crowdfund their comic books, and they have a pre-existing career. They've been in the mainstream. They worked at Marvel and DC, and they're very successful at what they do. But I'm not actually after just I'm not interested in the money or the fame aspect of it. I'm interested in making my dream come true of publishing my first comic book. And just the namesake, Acadian Comics, I mentioned this on my other channel, Shadowworks Media, but I'll revisit it now and reintroduce this to people. The whole concept is, I'm originally from Louisiana. Currently I've been living in New York City for 5 years. Moved here 2019, right before the pandemic, actually. The fall 2019, autumn, late August, so that would make it late summer 2019. And, I've been here 5 years, and it used to be that I used to dream about going to other places and telling stories in other places. But since I've been far away from home, and I've been, here in New York City for 5 years, I'm like, my mind is going back to home, and I'm thinking about the swamp. I'm thinking about New Orleans. I'm thinking about the French Quarter. I'm thinking about gumbo. I'm thinking about Commander's Palace. I'm thinking about po' boys. I'm thinking about things that Louisiana Cajun cooking that I took for granted all these years, and the culture that is there. Say what you want about where I'm from. It is one of the most culturally diverse places in the United States, and I'm sorry to say, but I'm not sorry to say, we have the best food in the country, and I'd put it up against other places in the world too. Cajun food, Creole food, Louisiana cooking, very hard to beat. So I want to share that with people, but I want to share it in my way. And I feel like there's a great opportunity because there's been some things that have happened in the state. It's being a Louisianian and being in the path of hurricanes and floods and natural disasters. It's a story of resilience. Your house gets knocked down, your house gets flooded, you gut it, you elevate it, you raise it, you rebuild, and you're resilient, and the show goes on. That's admirable. People will say, well, why don't you just move? No, you move, okay? And most people are about 300 years too late on that. It's particularly when they're talking about New Orleans, right? That city was there. It's been there for 300 years, okay? So just give me a break on that. But I have these concepts and ideas that I want to tell, and I want to tell kind of a superhero underdog story, but it's got some mysticism to it. It's got a few things to it. But I also want to tell my science fiction novel is a novel that I did called Goldmine on shadowworksmedia.com. You can check that out. All 23 chapters of Goldmine are available on shadowworksmedia.com. If you want to read my novel, you can go there and read it. 23 chapters. I'm going to tell the novelization of that and how that story, and in that story, because that is definitely has some comic book potential there. And I mentioned that on my other channel as well, but there's huge comic book potential there. But I'll be kicking off Acadian Comics with an Acadian Cajun themed superhero. And we'll be getting more into who that is and what that character is. But here's the thing, right? And I mentioned it in my other channel. I'm going to mention this again. There's a lot of repeat and revisiting because I'm kind of picking up here and I'm moving everything here to tell these stories, okay? And what that is, you know, what you have right now kind of in the world, in the world of entertainment and popular culture, is you have people with immense skills and talents, but they're telling someone else's story, and they're telling a story that is just flat out propaganda, and it's not good. It's just not good, okay? That's my opinion, but a lot of people share that opinion. And people are tired of politics and things being shoved down their throats in their entertainment. It's not going to stop. Don't look for it. The train has left the station. We're not going to change that. So if we have the capacity to tell stories, we have to take a shot at it. You know, there's crowdfunding. There's learning a skill. I'm picking up this tablet and this pencil here after 20 years of not drawing. I remember, you know, my Uncle Jimmy, he's actually my great uncle. He's a Vietnam veteran. He was actually a gun operator on a giant howitzer in Vietnam. But before he went to Vietnam, he was, and even after, I don't think you stop being an artist just because you don't produce work. You're always an artist, no matter if you have that inkling or capacity to do that. You know, I have a painting of his on my wall over here. You can't see, but, you know, I remember when I was like in high school or, you know, maybe 9th, 10th grade, and I had this picture of Spider-Man that I had inked with India ink. I thought it was great. I drew it. It was like my reference was from Wizard magazine, and oh man, I think all my wizards are back in Louisiana. If I get a chance, I'm going to get all my wizard magazines and bring them here, and we'll go through them. I know another channel or other channels have done wizard reviews, but it has meaning to me because they were mine, and I had them when I was in school, and I loved Wizard magazine. I didn't necessarily always get comics or buy comics, but you know, I probably up until 12, 13 years old, I was buying comics at the drugstore or the grocery store. And now you're hard pressed. You can't find them in a drugstore or grocery store anymore. You have to go to an actual brick and mortar comic book shop or order them online, whatever. But that's no fun. I like to go and pull my own stuff, you know. I mean, I'm not a guy that has weekly pulls, okay? I'm not going to spend that kind of money on it, but I will, if I find something that intrigues me, I'll go, you know. But anyway, I showed him this picture, and you know, Spider-Man looked great. Like he had, like, you know, we had his anatomy in, and of course I had a reference, so it was easy. Just look at the picture and just kind of duplicate it, you know, draw it out from your reference. Now I'm trying to learn how to draw things from imagination, which is completely different and much more liberating and powerful, actually. Because it's coming from your imagination. But he looked at it and he's like, this isn't in perspective. Like your buildings in the background, they're not in perspective. You need to learn perspective. And he gave me 2 books. They were simple, like almost like architecture books, but they were thin. They were this thin. And I didn't really have an art teacher where I was. A small town. I had 200 people in my high school. We didn't even have an art class. Now the school I came from before that, before I got to high school, we did. And that some of that was beginning to be cultivated. It kind of dropped off. I ended up playing sports, and then where's the time go? And you have other priorities, having fun, goofing off. And I kind of let my creativity kind of just flutter away. And I became kind of a entertainment consumer and watched a lot of movies, things like that. But I didn't really create anymore. I wasn't drawing anything. So after 20 years of dormancy, I've come back, and now I'm going to draw. And that's why I'm a student at the How to Draw Comics Academy, because I need the skills to produce the art on the page, to draw the panels. I want to do 2-page spreads. I want to draw interesting comic book panels. I want to tell an interesting story. I want to have great cinematography and shots and camera positions on the comic book page that I'm drawing, on the panels that I'm drawing. And I want to draw a 32-page, a 36-page comic book, or a 32-page comic book, right? I want to do that. I want to learn how to color it myself. I want to color it. I mean, I'm not opposed to hiring colorists. If I get good enough to where the art is good enough and I can run it by someone like Clayton and say, hey, what do you think of this? Other people, you have to be open to criticism though. And I've, in my short time, so really what happened was I became a student at the How to Draw Comics Academy in November 2023, one of the founding students. I was one of the first people to sign up, and I started taking in, Clayton's, tutorials and looking at that. And I was just drawing conventionally. I still have Bristol paper. I have, my Stadler pencil, lead holder. I have all that stuff. I have it. And I might go and do some stuff with that at some point. But now I'm drawing 100% digitally right now because it's just cleaner for me and it's easier for me to do that. But with that being said, now I feel like I'm with other people. I can post my work on our community forums and get feedback from people. And then on a weekly basis, Clayton does a feedback and critique session where he'll look at your work and give you the real feedback. And I've turned in a couple of comic book pages that were rough sketches. Like, I have no polish to my work at all at this point. That's where I'm at. You could barely call me a novice. I wouldn't even say, I would say I'm a beginner novice right now. And I've been consistently drawing for probably 2 months, maybe. So I can't wait to compare and contrast a year from now and see where I've come. But it's going to take time. It may take me 1 year. It may take me 2 years. It may take me 3 years to get where I need to get to where I can rough sketch something out, put it in a perspective grid, look at it, check it, make sure it works out, and then draw 32 pages. And then after you draw, you're gonna ink it. So you put in your rough pencils. I want tight pencils after that, and then I want to be able to ink my own work. And then I've got a black and white comic that I could run forward. I could go forward with that and run with that. But we're gonna be having coloring classes too. So there's so much to learn, and if I took my time, I could actually do all of it myself, which is crazy to think about. But my goal is to get to the point to where I have good pencils. I'm producing quality art that people will say, yeah, you got something here. You have something here. Because the thing about it is, I have the stories already. I don't have to worry about the stories. They're all up here. I know exactly what I want to tell. I know how I want to tell it. I know what the set pieces are. I know what it'll translate. I haven't written out an outline yet. I could do that, but I'm spending all my time and attention putting it into drawing right now and learning how to draw. And I want to do that first. I want to be a competent comic book artist first. I want to be able to say, here are my pencils. What do you think of it? Is it competently drawn? Is everything in proportion? Is the art aesthetically pleasing? How's my line art? How does this look? How's my inking look? Because there's so many different levels to it. So we tend to look at things and say, oh yeah, I can do that. Oh, that guy's doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu. They're just rolling around the ground. I can do that. Oh, that person's doing a complex athletic feat. Oh, well, I can do that. No, you can't. It takes time and dedication and persistence and willpower to do it. And I'm in it for the long haul. So this is Acadian Comics. I am James Fondren. My goal here is to produce and publish my first comic book. And I want to tell stories in comic format through comics. And we'll be talking about comics. I have a long box over here in the corner, and we'll be looking at that. And, I'll be pulling out some stuff from the 90s. My dad, when I was a kid, he bought me some comics too. Some comics from the Silver Age, some comics from the 60s. We'll look at those. I don't mind opening up the bag and board to show you guys that. show you all that, as we say in Louisiana. They say you guys up here, and unfortunately I've been infected with that. I prefer y'all. So I will show y'all that in due time. I'll be doing time-lapse videos to show you kind of my process. You may see a 2.5-minute time-lapse video, and that might have been a 2.5-hour class at the How to Draw Comics Academy. So if you're interested in becoming a student at the How to Draw Comics Academy, I would advise you to visit howtodrawcomics.net. If you want to go, if you're on YouTube right now watching this video, so if you want to go on YouTube, you can go on YouTube and you can search How to Draw Comics and Clayton Barton. And he actually did an open house last week after Easter, I believe, and he showed you kind of what the How to Draw Comics Academy offers. So I can't recommend his work enough. I can't recommend what he's doing. I wish there was something like this 20 years ago and someone would have put me in front of a screen and said, here's your pencil, here's your paper, do what this man's telling you to do. Be persistent, push through any roadblocks that you may have with it. Trust the process and just keep doing what you're doing, because I can't say that my art is good, but what I can say is that I have an idea. And I want to keep working on it. So it takes years to cultivate the skill. People have worked years to do this. And I respect that deeply. I'm also a martial artist myself. And it takes years to get your black belt if you're really serious about it. If you're not just being handed a black belt like it's a piece of candy. If you've really earned it from your peers and from your teachers and your mentors, that commands a lot of respect. So I have a lot of respect for people in the indie space, even in the mainstream space for comics, who are doing what they're doing now and producing and creating art for us to enjoy and entertainment. So that's all I wanted to say in this opening introduction video. I know it was a lot, but there will be more. I have a little series that I want to do, comic haul, where maybe I'll go to Midtown Comics or my local comic book shop here in Queens. I live in Forest Hills, home of Peter Parker, and maybe we'll do some things like that. Maybe I'll take you on a tour of the local comic shop that I go to, so you can kind of see what they have in there and check that out. So thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you right here next time at Acadian Comics.